This is David with Corel Training.
This is Cassie Green from Apparelist.
This is Gordon and Firemark from the Entertainment Law Update.
And you're listening to
Two Regular Guys podcast.
Hosted by Terry Combs RG, Regular Guy, and Aaron Montgomery.
The place to be for industry news.
the best dad jokes on earth, along with relevant topics to apparel decorating.
Prepare for the ride.
All right, welcome into the show. It is Friday, June 21st, 2024. I'm Terry Combs, and you can find me at terrycombs.com.
Can you repeat that date one more time?
I know, crazy,
scary
huh?
stuff there, Terry.
I was just sitting here this morning thinking, in a week, we're halfway through 2024, and I still haven't done my plans for 2024. My
Your goals.
yeah. Resolutions. That's what the word.
Your news resolutions. There you go. There you go. All right. Well, I'm Aaron Montgomery with our Success Group, and my mission is to help you fall deeper in love with your business. Terry, this week we are going to be talking about a topic that I think will actually help people fall deeper in love with their business. What good customer service really is, and how we can, when we've got good customer service, we're going to enjoy what we're doing a lot more because we're going to be working with the kinds of people. Anyhow, we'll get all into that, but this is a topic that I love, and I know you're a big proponent of customer service at this level that we're going to talk about, and I think it's going to be a really good show today, Terry.
I think so too. I'm excited about it. So make sure you stay until the very end for your helping of the secret sauce. And I'm back in the kitchen today talking about heat pressing DTF transfers. So I think I might have some tips for you guys.
Awesome. Yeah, I'm looking forward to that. And hopefully you were able to clean up the kitchen a little bit. It was still a bit spicy after Dane. So I think he's still a little upset. So
wear gloves.
Yes, good. All right. Well, this week we're going to take a week off from the news here. Just need to coordinate with Marcia Derryberry. I think she is back on the men's, but I need to get with her. I know she texted me and I asked her to send me an email, and I realized this morning that I didn't hear from her, but she's probably around. So anyhow, we just didn't get a chance to connect. We'll get her back very, very soon and hear the news from Screen Printing Magazine coming up very soon, Terry. But
all right. And lots of things happening out there in the apparel decorating world. So looking forward to next week's news, and we'll see if we can't get caught up.
Yeah, exactly. So we've got Chuck checking in this morning. Good morning to Chuck. And Ramona is here. Good morning, everyone, she says. And good morning to you, Ramona. And so, by the way, speaking of Ramona, make sure that you tune in on Saturday mornings for Coffee and Conversation. She does a wonderful show for you embroidery folks out there. Check that out. So I just wanted to share that while I was thinking about it. Seeing Ramona here. Good morning. All right, Terry. Well, Skills USA coming up next week. So I've been burning the candle at both ends. So I appreciate you jumping on the dad joke here. This is, I'm going to say it. It's a good one. So here we go.
I'm kind of proud of it.
All right. Well, let's do it.
Hey, Aaron, did you know that I was abducted by aliens?
I did not know that. No.
I thought you were going to say, well, no, but it explains a lot of things.
I was going to get to that.
Well, yeah, they made me wash my hands, clean my room, eat my vegetables. Turns out I was on the mothership. I can't see Eric. Yay, nay.
That's a sideways head shake, I believe, there, Terry. So it's dad joke variety. So good stuff there. And yes, it does explain a lot when you let us. It's kind of like when I explained that I was born on Friday the 13th. People go, "Oh, now I get it."
Yeah, all clear to me. When I tell people I'm a preacher's kid, they're like, "Oh, okay."
Yeah. Makes a lot more sense.
All right. Before we dive in, we want to thank everybody for checking out the Two Regular Guys podcast. We need your voices still. We would love to have the regulators participate in our show intros like you heard this morning.
Yep.
Go to decorators.inc/intro. Read a few sentences, be a part of the show. We are always looking for new guests. So if you or anyone you know would like to join us, go to calendly.com/2 regular guys to book a future episode, or email us at info@tworegularguys.com with your show ideas. If you are listening to the podcast version of the show, we would appreciate you sharing the Two Regular Guys podcast with all of your industry friends so they can become regulators too. We would appreciate you giving us a review on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, iHeartRadio, Amazon Podcasts, YouTube Podcast, wherever you do your podcast listening, we are there. And if you're watching us live, please join in with your comments and your questions and your customer service stories as well.
Yeah. That's what makes that will make this show even better. Is you guys that are dealing with it right every day. We're going to talk about some different stories, some different ways of looking at this, and you guys participating will be the cherry on top for those of you that are live listeners. If you are catching the recorded version, or if you're on the podcast version, go ahead and shoot us a comment. Tell us your story. We might add that to a future show, or just interact. I think continuing this conversation is important for us as an industry, Terry, I'd say.
I think so too.
Yep. All right. Well, let's just real quick. Kim Johnson did think your joke was mediocre, I would say, based on the head face palm.
She thinks all my jokes are mediocre. At least she responded. Usually I get the dull stare.
Yeah, and then walk away. Good. And then Ramona did say, hey, we are stitching on Scream fabric tomorrow. Exciting. So yes, very, very, very exciting.
Interesting.
Yeah, definitely. All right, Terry. Well, you ready to dive into this?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay. All right. Well, so this show came about because we were kind of having a discussion, A, what to talk about, B, just topics that we're passionate about. And we kind of got on the subject of what good customer service really is, right? We talked a little bit about the notion of I'm doing this in air quotes for the podcast listeners, the customer is always right. And we'll get to that in a moment. But I think the goal for today, Terry, as far as I'm concerned, is how do we better define customer service so that everyone can determine for themselves what it means and how to implement that kind of an idea of good customer service in their business. So, Terry, I guess let's just start off right there. What is quote unquote good customer service to you?
Well, I was thinking about this topic, and in my screen printing classes, I always repeat, do good work, deliver on time, and you will be ahead of 90% of your competition. It's the same with customer service, because most of us, there's little to no customer service in our businesses. So people are just floored when you offer good customer service to your customers. But will you allow me to tell my customer service real life story that
yes
from my past?
But real quick, though, I do think that we're at that stage with our show here that you guys should probably be taking wagers, bets at what point in the show will do good work and deliver on time. Will that actually show up in the show? We could have like a bingo card for that. So anyhow, yes, exactly. I do want to hear your story, Terry.
But so when I was at Jones & Mitchell Sportswear, I was the plant manager there in Kansas City, and I was in the customer service office. I think 3 or 4 cubicles had customer service reps in there on the phones, and I was talking to one of the reps, and her phone rang, and she says, "Oh, dang it! If this phone would stop ringing, I could get my work done." I said, "If those customers stopped calling, you could do your customer service work." Yeah. But this is why you're here. Pick up that phone,
Yeah, exactly.
But anyway, I just that always stuck with me, and it was just like a revelation in her eyes, like, oh yeah, I guess that is what I'm supposed to be doing, picking up that phone and helping customers. But I think in listen to your customers, I could actually stop that sentence right there. But listen to customers and help them find the product they need, rather than, number one, what you're supposed to be selling them. Number 2, what the customer believes they need. And number 3, being willing to say this is not the right product for you, and that's a really tough one, especially to say in front of your boss or your manager. But it's the right thing to do. And Aaron, I know you're planning on drilling down on this further, but communicate. Not when it's easy, but when it's hard.
Yeah.
I've had to give bad news to customers many times over the years, but they always appreciate getting that phone call and getting a heads up. That nobody wants to get the phone call when it's too late. Hey, by the way, that didn't ship. They want to hear right up front, we're kind of having an issue here, and I just want to give you a little warning. That for me, that's the biggest thing. Just be in constant communication with your customers, for good or for bad. Tucking it away in your back pocket, and maybe things will get better is not customer service. So that's my definition.
I like it. And before we get too far away from it, Terry, do you want to unpack this notion of telling the customer that it's not the right product for them? I know you do that in on your side, right? With the equipment and stuff like that. You look at, okay, well, what are you trying to do with this? And they're all got their heart set on equipment A. And even if you don't sell equipment B, I know you are willing to tell them, hey, this is not right for you right now. And you've told stories about how they come back. But as a garment decorator, right, we have those same situations, right? Where, you have to be willing to go, I don't think you're going to be happy with that, right? You have to lean on your expertise, your knowledge of your past experiences there, and be willing to say no. And I think that's really hard for, especially if you're the business owner too, right?
Yeah.
You're turning away potential business. So talk to us a little bit about that.
Well, I have an example, believe it or not, everybody out there listening. Off the bingo card. A few months ago, Kim was showing me, she does a lot of stores for schools and clubs and things like that, and she's like, oh my gosh, they want these 3 items that I know their market is not going to buy. I just know it. So rather than saying, hey, these are really bad choices, she said, hey, I've also created these 3 other garments and graphics that I'd like to put up on your store, just to give your customers, your whatever club members or whatever, more options. And they're like, oh, okay, awesome. Well, needless to say, those items were the ones that everybody bought. But it was kind of a backhanded, this is a bad idea, and with a positive, I'm going to give you some more options. But I think you need to be frank with people, especially like fundraising and things like that, and say, based on my experience, I think that you're going to be better with this product or this graphic or.
Exactly. Yeah, because they might go, oh, I need 50 items in my store, and from experience, we know that customers aren't going to wade through 50 products, right? If you give them 5 to 10, there's a lot better chance that they're going to actually raise money in that event, as opposed to just spend your time.
Aaron, and there was an example that came up here on the show about a month or so ago, and it was, give me the cheapest hat you have because it's just a giveaway. When the real answer was, give me the best hat you have that somebody's going to want to wear and have the effect that I'm looking for. Have somebody wearing that hat around, seeing my logo on it. So I think that's another example of, okay, before you commit to this, $1.50 hat,
Trinket,
let's talk about what you're trying to accomplish. And I think that's a lot with sales. Let's talk about where you want to go with this. What's the end result? You want to see this hat on somebody's head? Then we need to go over here. And I'm not trying to upsell you. I'm trying to help you make a better choice.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I love that. Okay, let's hit a couple of comments here real quick, Terry, before we move into the next points here. Ramona says, I agree with Terry. The hardest part is communicate to a customer that what they want is not suitable for the media they're using. I have 2 concerns with this. Ramona says a suggestion of replacement needs to be made at the time you tell them it won't work. So yeah.
Yes,
And
absolutely.
then
Give them that other option.
yeah, exactly. And she says, and embroidery vendors need to understand their products so they aren't waiting for their digitizers to come back the next day and say it won't work. Right. Yeah. So
Well,
like you said, you're not upselling them. You're helping them find the right product for what they're trying to accomplish. But as the salesperson, whatever, if you're that role or you're the owner and that's your job anyhow, right? Your responsibility really is to get to understand what their project is. It's not to come in and try to sell them the most expensive thing you can sell them and take their money and run.
right.
That's when you start having major customer service issues down the road, right?
Yeah.
And it's about, like you said, educating them.
Aaron, I have a real world right now today example. Epson has come out with this new F1070 $7,000 DTG desktop kind of printer, and they were going to start shipping in May. Well, it's June, and they were going to start shipping in June, and
What
now it's
happens late
July.
now? I've never heard this before.
It is. I actually was talking to somebody yesterday about it, saying, "Hey, it looks like July now," and he goes, "Hey, I already have Epson printers. I already know this story."
Been there, done that. July will turn to August.
It's been with every introduction: the F2000, the
Yeah,
F2100, the F2270. It's
yeah,
going to be this date, and 6 months later, here it is.
yeah. And the floodgates finally open.
I saw somebody from Epson posted yesterday that the new F1070 is shipping now, and I'm like, oh my gosh, you need to make a call down the hallway because they're not.
Yeah, yeah. You may want to check that, and I'll send the people that are calling me to you then, and you can answer that question.
Exactly.
All right. Doug says, after reviewing complaints about the time it took to get to the counter, the U.S. Postal Service removed the clocks in the waiting room. Right. So I know that's Doug being tongue in cheek, but I think and that's what we're going to get into here, Terry. Is what right that's putting a band-aid on the problem that probably isn't actually going to fix the problem, right? How about instead empowering your people to provide better service? How about making sure that you have enough people to help? How about stop making these changes to your distribution centers where you've got so many customer service issues, et cetera, et cetera. You've got somebody at the high level that has no clue what's going on, making these decisions about what's going on in the company. So we could talk about the post office and what not to do probably the entire show here, but
It's all those employees there. Don't think you work for the government. I know you do, but
yeah.
think that you work for us, okay?
Yeah, exactly. But let's start there, Terry. Let's start about talking a little bit more about kind of this. I know Doug's comments not exactly before the sale, but it really is. What are the expectations, right? Like if you knew that you're going to stand in line for 30 minutes up front and you stood in line for 20 minutes, you'd be fine. But if you expected to stand in line for 5 minutes and you end up standing in line for 30 minutes, right? That's again, you'd wait longer if you knew that and that was what you expected. And it was just, okay, it is what it is. Right. And then you might choose something different or whatever. But when you kind of get suckered into it and then end up, so I guess why is this topic really crucial for us to kind of discuss and dissect, Terry? What's your opinion on that?
Well, you really hit it on it with expectations. When most garment decorators, when somebody places an order, what do you say to them? When do you need it? Not when will
Yes.
this is when I can have this for you, because most people, decorators, they don't schedule production, they juggle production. And I've talked on here before about people saying to me, I can't sleep at night because I don't I feel like every order is late. And so you have to be able to, I'm going to talk about my estimated production time book. It's about how to calculate when this order will fall on the schedule. And touching back on something you already mentioned, my production schedule, I fill up 80% of my production time.
Mm-hmm.
And that last 20% is 10% goes to the sales manager for that order that they've got to pull ahead. And 10% goes to something went wrong. I mean, when I was in Columbus, Ohio, running production, we had gas dryers. building next door was being built, and heavy equipment drove over and crushed the gas lines coming into my building twice. And I was shut down. I was shut down until the gas company could come out and start the gas again.
Yeah.
But my point being this: once I get to that week of production, then if those 20% of time slots aren't filled, guess what I do? I pull orders from next week, and I've never had somebody complain, "Hey, I told you that I have these shirts for you next Tuesday. They're ready now. If you would like to come pick them up." And
Darn you, you're so early, Terry. I'm so mad.
gosh, I told you Tuesday. I'm standing in line at the post office. I can't come and pick those up.
That's right. So
And I don't know how long I've been here. There's no clock.
There's no clocks. Oh, that's good. That's good. Yeah, I think you're exactly right. Just again, over deliver, right? So we talk about do good work, deliver on time, but honestly, it's do good work, deliver on time, and then over deliver if you really want to stand out, right? And
Exactly.
that's the minimum requirement: do good work, deliver on time. So let's talk about this. And again, we're talking kind of before the sale here.
Right.
We talked at the beginning of the show when we were talking about this show, the concept of the customer is always right came up, and that's kind of been quoted as this statement. And Eric rightfully pointed out, and I was kind of aware of this, but I wasn't fully aware of the whole quote. So I appreciate him pointing this out. I went and did a little digging myself and looked up some more about it. But the actual statement is the customer's always right, comma, in the matters of taste, right? And so what is that? How does that change that the customer is always right statement for you, Terry?
Well, you said you'd done some research on it, but well, first of all, the customer isn't always right. I mean, I get it's like improv. The answer is always yes,
Mm-hmm.
but
Exactly, yeah.
But I'll let you.
Yeah, sure.
Into that.
No, for sure. Because I think, because I've always kind of looked at it like, quote unquote, the customer is always right after you've taken their money, right? Because at that point, it's where those expectations shift. Before the sale, it's your responsibility to set the expectations and be very clear about it. After the sale, it's the customer's responsibility to, stay within those expectations. And so if for whatever reason they expected something different, you could fight it, right? No, this is what we said up front, and I'm sorry, that's the way that it is. And then, you get this bad feedback, and we know how that goes with social media world and et cetera, et cetera. And so I think that it's that turning point, right? And so once you've taken their money, I'm not saying that they are always right, but is it a hill you want to die on, so to speak?
Yeah.
Right? Yeah.
100%.
So go ahead and talk about that.
I probably, I'm a pretty easygoing guy, as you know, and so I'm probably going to bend over backwards to try to make it right for the customer. Even though, this is what it says on the order. I get it that you didn't read it or you didn't double check your quantities or things like that, but I want that customer back again. And so I'm probably going to do the best I can to help that out. I'll give you another example. Kim had was doing an order for someone that was like 450 shirts. Well, guess what? They miscounted the mediums. And so she had to go back and do 10 more shirts. And I mean, she didn't do them for free, but she certainly cut them a deal. And why? Because this customer she had last summer, and she wants to have this customer next summer. And probably next summer, she might go there and go over the numbers with them, because, I blame the American education system on the ability to
new math. Is it new math, Terry? Is it that new math that got him?
Yes.
So Yeah, see, and I think that's it. We're not really talking about in the matters of taste per se here, and I will circle back around to that. But I also have a quick story. I'm learning from Terry. So so I was booked on a flight on I booked a flight on Southwest. I ended up booking it, and I made a mistake. I knew I screwed up. I made a mistake. I mean, like less than a minute after I got the confirmation, I realized I had booked my flight on the wrong date. you know, or not on the wrong date. Sorry, to the wrong. I can't remember exactly the details of it, but somehow it was either the wrong date or the wrong city. This was a while ago, so I have to kind of come up with all the details here, but they don't really matter. The reality is I made a mistake. I reached out to Southwest. I admitted that I had made a mistake, and I said, hey, what can we do on this? I know you guys, right? I can change my flight, et cetera, et cetera. And they said, well, because of the way this is, what we're going to have to do is we're going to have to cancel that one, and we'll give you credit, and then you can rebook. And so, okay, no problem. Sounds good. And anyhow, that it goes by, and I don't get any cancellations notice. So I reach out to him the next day, and I'm like, hey, what happened here? You guys said you're going to cancel this so I could rebook, and I was waiting for that so I could rebook. And anyhow, I don't remember exactly why, but there was something happened, and they okay, good. Now I got the confirmation the next morning. I go to rebook, and the prices had gone up, and I'm like, hey, I just wanted to rebook at those current prices. I will fly with you. I get that it's my fault, right? Even if there's like a change penalty or whatever, but I reached out to you guys, and they're like, well, nope, that's the prices are what the prices are. And I'm going, is it so? Southwest has changed because that used to never be like that. I mean,
Yeah, I was going to say they're usually super
and
easy to work with.
that. And so I went round and round. I mean, I went back and forth with them. I emailed into their customer service office. I called them. I mean, it was just a matter of principle at that point, because I had admitted my mistake. I was willing to do, and then what they said that they were going to do, I felt like they didn't do. And so anyhow, I rebooked my flight on Delta, and and I try to fly Delta every time now. There are times where you just can't avoid it because of the way that airlines work, and so it's not that I've completely given up Southwest, but it's really I don't know. I guess it's just I had an expectation, and at that point, even though I had made a mistake, the communication was such that I felt like, so I don't know, maybe I was just holding on to principle, but that to me is kind of what that separation is with that whole customer's already always right. I mean, I knew I was in the wrong. I admitted it. I had the conversation with them, and then what I was told didn't seem to happen. So somehow we missed our expectations there. And then at that point, well, you've got my money. So at this point, you're, I need help here. And if you're not going to help me, that's fine. I'm going to make sure people know about it, and I'm going to go I'm going to fly on another airline more often if I can.
Well, and Aaron, that happens all the time. When the customer feels like they've been wronged in some way, they're going to take it to heart, and they're going to, well, like you said, book another airline, or and everybody above that customer service rep doesn't know why sales are down, or they don't understand why they're losing customers. And the big one for me is when you call someplace and you get the please hold, and they don't even get the word hold out of their mouth before they hang up the phone again. And it's just so rude. It's like, I don't want to call here again. Can't you just say, hey, I'm with another customer. I'll get back to you in just a minute. No, please hold. But again, customer service, everything in your company is a reflection of ownership, a reflection of management. And so clearly that response from that person who answered the phone is a reflection of how
it was their
owners or managers
policy.
treat them.
Yep. It was their policy. And so the reason I bring that up though in this instance is I want us as business owners as people that are responsible for customer service in our companies and things like that to understand that tipping point, right? I don't know. I doubt that I'm really going to hurt Southwest, right? But like you said, enough of that starts happening. They used to be known as this customer service company. They are
Yes.
no longer really that darling anymore, and their prices aren't that low anymore. So
Correct.
my brother was
Correct.
telling me
I'm
about,
shocked at how high some of their prices are
yeah.
sometimes.
Well, the reason their prices were so low for so long is they had pre-bought a bunch of gas. They had kind of bet on the futures of it, and they were taking advantage of that, but that ran out this year.
Oh,
That's what I had heard. Anyhow, but neither here nor there. The point for our listeners here is I want you to think about that inside of your company, right? You might not know why sales are down. You might not know why you're struggling, but if you're honest with yourself and you go look back, how many times did you fight it out with the customer just to prove yourself right? Right. Just to hold on to your policy. Right. And maybe
right.
you would lose a little bit in that moment, and maybe you would choose to not do business with that person anymore. But why give yourself that black eye? So I think it's a matter of those expectations.
You want to hear my feel-good airline story? I don't
Yeah,
even remember
please.
which airline it was. This was several years ago. I'm in Denver, fogged in Denver. Surprise.
Yeah.
I was waiting in the line to go up and talk to the person at the counter about, what the chances are of us getting out that night, that sort of thing, and like all these people ahead of me were just like screaming at this person. And I'm like, holy cow, she's not in charge of the fog, So I got up to the counter and I said, hey, listen, I'm just trying to get back to Kansas City. So I get it. And I just asked my question, went back to my seat, and about half hour later, that person comes around the counter and comes to where I'm sitting. She goes, sir, I think there's something wrong with your ticket. Could I see your ticket? And I hand it to her, and she comes back and hands it back to me. It's first class. She bumped me to first class because I was the only person in the line that was nice to her.
See, it does pay to be nice to your vendors for sure.
Exactly right. But,
all right,
Terry,
Terry,
Aaron, oh, sure. Go ahead.
well, I was just going to say, let's hit that in in manners of taste. I don't know why that was so hard for me to say. In manners of taste. So what I believe that means is the idea that, and how did Eric, so maybe he could put it in the comments for us. He kind of eloquently put it in our chat. The idea that you don't argue with the customer over the shirt color or something along those lines. Eric, I apologize. My brain's a little foggy here this morning, but really it like what they want is what they want. Right. And so we have to, as a business owner, we have to collaborate with them to find that right mix, right? Yes, maybe that won't work. Maybe their idea is not exactly right, but you have to look for what their end goal is and try to set up yourself in such a way that you can help them achieve that end goal, and help them understand why maybe the nuts and bolts of it might look a little different than they had expected, but that they're still going to get what they want, their taste of the thing that they're interested in. So that's belief in
and it comes back to the communication and having that conversation with your customers out. Where are we trying to get to? What are we trying to accomplish here? I mean, I talk to people about equipment every single day. What is it you're trying to achieve here? And Aaron, I'm going to give an example of saying no. I know you have that as one of your bullet points here, but I had somebody come up to me at a trade show once and say, I'm really interested in buying this direct-to-garment printer. I print baseball uniforms. And I said, are they 100% polyester? Yeah, for the most part they are. And I'm like, this isn't the right product for you. I know that you're talking to a bunch of vendors and they're all writing quotes for you. This 100% polyester in a direct-to-garment printer is not a good fit. There are some other decoration methods you should probably look at. And so, but you have in your notes here about learning to say no. What are your comments on that?
Yeah. So, yeah, No is one of the hardest sentences in in the English language for people to say, right? We're all recovering people pleasers at some level, and so saying no, even especially when somebody's trying to give you money, right? Sometimes saying no is the best thing that you can do. And what I mean by that is I can guarantee that most decorators out there, maybe even all, I will be so bold as to say maybe even all, have had that job that they took on something, they said yes to something when their instinct, their gut was saying, this is not going to go well. This is bad idea. Red flags were going off. And guess what happens?
Yeah.
It came to pass and it was not good. And the customer was not fun to work with. And it was, painful the entire time. And so I think when I'm talking about learning to say no there, Terry, what I mean is how do we listen to those instincts and be okay with it? So the story that I would tell is when I was younger, my family and I had I worked for my dad. Basically, he had a business where we sold log home kits. In fact, that's how I know Doug, who I think might still be in here, sold log home kits and, build these log homes in Colorado. And I remember it seemed like all the people that were coming to build the homes in this little area, they were well-to-do, affluent people that were in the Denver area that wanted to build a place in the mountains as kind of a cabin getaway. And they were very demanding. They had very high expectations, and they would come in and tell us, you have to do this, you have to do this, you have to be done by then. And they had this list of things. And I'm sitting there going, okay, how are we going to figure this out? I don't know if we can get it done in time. And my dad said to me, he said, hold on. This is the way that we do things. This is how much time that's going to take. Let's not overpromise. I know we want to make that sale. I know that'd be good for us to do, but the reality is it will become a nightmare if we do say yes. And he said, plus the power of saying no is one of the most powerful things you'll ever learn. And so we would say, I'm sorry, we can't do that in your specifications, in your time frame. And every single one of them, once we stood up, confidently said no, and then, like Ramona said earlier, give them what the alternative is. No, we can't do that, but this is what we can do. These are the ways that we do it. This is how it will be done, and this is when it will be done by. And every single one of them came back and said, okay, well, that sounds good. Right.
And probably much easier customer to deal with after the fact too.
Yeah, absolutely they were, because then, like you talked about a little earlier, we did good work and we delivered on time and we actually delivered early. Right. And so they were able to kind of see the experience. They enjoyed it, and we had it ready for them to come and vacation in before they were actually expecting it to be done. Even though it was outside of their original timeline, we reset their expectations. And so learning to say no isn't necessarily saying no to an order. It's more about saying no to the demands and then clearly stating what your policies and procedures are and delivering on those. So
exactly.
Yeah. Okay, let's hit a couple of Eric's comments and then we'll hit our break real quick, and then we can come back and catch the second half.
I'd say no to Eric's comments. No, let's go.
Ouch, Eric. He does have control of your mic, by the way, just FYI. All right. He said, when we were talking about in matters of taste, a shop needs to have policies and stand up for them, but we don't need to argue color pairings. Right. Yeah, exactly. That's much more eloquently put. And then he says, establish expectations, express expertise, but realize that tastes vary and we aren't the audience for our work. That's what in the matter of taste version means to me in practice. Yeah, that's perfect. Right. So we aren't. And actually, I was talking about this on a live video I did with a young lady in her group yesterday, where we were talking about, trying to figure out pricing. And the worst people to ask about pricing are your fellow decorators, because I wouldn't pay for a shirt. Right. I can make it. Right. So why would I have this expectation of paying? I can't tell you how many awesome shirts I've turned down because I'm just not going to pay $25 for that shirt. I can make it at home. Did I ever make it? No. Do I wish I would have bought that shirt? Absolutely. But in the moment, I couldn't bring myself to do that. So,
Well, Aaron, I think also is that's another conversation you have with your customer, because your customer isn't necessarily the audience for that product either. They're, they're selling, I don't know, shirts to rock bands, and they don't have a single rock band shirt in their closet, but they work at a venue, and so
yeah.
sometimes you have to say, who's buying this shirt? Is
Yeah.
is it 15-year-old girls? Then this isn't this what you're wanting to buy here is not necessarily going to be appealing to a 15-year-old girl. So
Yeah. 100%. All right, Eric, let's take that quick break here, and we'll come back and talk about after the sale. You ready, Terry?
I'm ready.
Hi, I'm Kylene.
And I'm Aaron from our Success Group.
We understand that feeling of knowing something is holding you back.
Are you watching others succeed and wondering what they have that you don't? There's a secret locked away inside of each of us, yet we never think about fixing it because it has to be something external from ourselves. It is the limiting belief that everyone wants to just push aside and try to hustle and grind harder to get there. But the truth is, those limiting beliefs are keeping you from asking for help, from taking the next step, or doing the action needed to move your business forward.
The sooner you can identify what's holding you back, the sooner you will start achieving your goals. We make sure to provide a safe environment, free of judgment and full of support as you go through this process. We hope you make this investment in yourself and unlock your potential so you can find more meaning and success in your life.
All right. Well, check that out. If you're not where you want to be in your business or your personal life, there is, I can almost guarantee that there's a limiting belief that's holding you back. And I continue to use that same exact program for myself and just keep unlocking all sorts of new incredible paths and beliefs and rewriting my story day by day. So,
And you're halfway through the year, everybody.
Yeah, I'm sorry. Absolutely. Yeah, for sure. And at this point, it's only a $47 investment for you. So if that could change your business, I think it might be worth taking a risk on it. So, and if you're not happy with it, then let me know. We'll give you your money back. So check that out. osg.link/unlock, by the way, for anybody that wants to go check that out. All right, Terry. Well, let's talk about the other side of this. Where do you want to head here?
Well, we've already talked about doing good work and delivering on time. That's an important part of the equation here. I guess we've also talked about keeping your customer informed, but you want to talk a little bit about keeping them informed during the whole process of the order?
Yeah, I think that's a good place to kind of, so again, in my mind, the way I look at this is where we've kind of reached that tipping point, right? Where now we've taken the order. I'm not saying the customer is always right, but again, is that the hill you want to die on here? So the way to keep those challenging situations from happening is, like you said, we talked about it a little bit already, but make it a point of going out of your way to keep them informed throughout the order process, right? So, when you talk about, Terry, the printers delivering late, right? Like, you guys hopefully have a little bit of an inside track, and really somebody in your company should be kind of on that and keeping that rolling, so that you can be, before somebody at Epson starts saying, oh yeah, they're shipping. And then your customers are going, so-and-so just said they're shipping. Where's mine? Right.
Online.
So again, just those kinds of like reaching out, letting people know where it's at along the way. Hey, we're done with this. So what I would suggest is see if you can come up with some sort of an automated system. You can use a project management tool like Asana or Trello. And as you move things from one column to the next, you can also have that automatically send your customer an email, just updating them on the status. And so, yes, it takes a little bit to set up. And yes, you may need to hire a freelancer to help you kind of get it set up if you're not used to using something like, there's all sorts of automation tools out there. Zapier is probably the most popular one. So doing things like that, but really, again, just kind of keeping customers informed. And if you see a flag come up in your process where you go, oh, right? Like the second that your gas line went down, I imagine that you guys were on the phone with your customers explaining to them before you even really knew anything. Here's what happened. We're working on it. You know, we've left ourselves space, and so we should be okay. Or maybe we'll be a little bit late, but you're keeping them informed along the way. And I think that goes into kind of transparency, right? We want to hide our bumps, our scars, our moles, so to speak. But I think if you really want to be known as the customer service company, I think you got to be transparent about that stuff, right? You're not going to get everything right, and that honesty really builds trust. So, what's your take there, Terry?
Well, and you know, customer service is not just the person who has the title customer service. We're all customer service, you know, and 100% keep people being honest with people. This, I don't know if this is a perfect example or not, but Aaron, you remember a little product called the T-Jet 3?
I tried to bury that in my limiting beliefs, Terry.
Well, I remember at a trade show one time, the T-Jet 3 had just been introduced, having issues, but we still had it at a trade show. And I had somebody come up to me, credit card in hand, saying, hey, I want this new printer. And I kind of walked them down the aisle a little bit and said, listen, you know, we've just gotten these first machines delivered. Why don't you give me 90 days? And so we can all be a little more comfortable with what this machine can do. And 90 days came and went, and that machine was not doing what it needed to do. But hey, I lost us a sale, but gosh, I'm going to say 10 years later, I got a phone call from somebody, and he goes, I know you don't remember me, but at a trade show, you told me I was trying to hand you a credit card. You told me to hold off for 90 days. And then I realized that machine wasn't right for me. And I never forgot that, though. And I saw that you're working at Equipment Zone. So I want to buy a direct-to-garment printer and I want to buy it from you. I mean, that's kind of a convoluted story, but it was, I wasn't comfortable selling him that machine. Yep. And all those years later, it's like he said, I never forgot you saying that to me at a show that, you know, this is not ready. Yeah. And, you know, he became a customer later on, but it went such a long way with him that, you know, transparency is an important thing. And sometimes it costs you a little bit of money, but you have to do it. Yeah. I probably shouldn't be telling you. You were the sales manager there. Sorry, Aaron.
I was going to say, I hope Scott's not listening. Boy, he can't fire you, but boy.
He'd probably be saying, oh, thank goodness. We had one less angry customer.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And, you know, I think we all probably did that a little bit. And that was a weird transition period during our time there. Unfortunately, we didn't talk enough people out of it. But thinking about that though, Terry, right? Like that company would have been better off with no sales. They might still be around.
Correct.
Everybody said no. Right. But you know, that's the way we thought we could recover. So, you know, you learn, you live and you learn. So, okay, well, let's keep going here. I want to talk a little bit also about the fact that, you know, we're talking about keeping customers informed all the way, you know, and then, okay, cool. Products delivered, customer service is over, right? No,
99% of companies out there.
Yep.
Done. On to the next one. But really, this is, even if there aren't issues, right? Even if there aren't challenges after the fact, real good customer service keeps going, right? And that customer service can actually turn into sales, but it's that follow-up, making sure. So here's a great example. The folks at Terrytown are supporting Skills USA, and they ship some stuff directly to me, right? So I got this sales order from them, and it had all the information about what they shipped, and then, you know, it was all zeroed out. And so it showed up a couple days ago, and I got an email, a really nice email, and it looked like it was personalized to me from the person who had sent me that the initial order details.
just wanting to make sure I got everything arrived okay. Here's how to, return something if there's a problem with it. Just like set it all up. And it was 2 days after, and I'm going, I didn't even pay for that. And I feel like I just got amazing customer service,
Yeah.
So it's that kind of thing. Right. And again, it doesn't have to be super hard. I know it was an automated email, but it still made me feel good about the whole process that,
It made you
okay,
feel
cool.
like the company cares about you.
Yeah, exactly. So doing stuff like that, but just setting a follow-up, right? Even after they're happy with it, just setting a follow-up and saying, hey, what's next here? So, um,
And Aaron, I think that there's two reasons that people don't do this. One is they just get busy and they've already made the sale and on to the next. The other is sometimes they don't want to hear what the customer's going to say, and that's somebody that doesn't have faith and confidence in the products they're selling.
Yeah.
I'm afraid to call them because I don't want to have them say, half these prints are crooked.
Yeah.
So it's an avoidance thing, but.
Yeah.
Just like you said, I mean, what a simple, small little thing that made you feel good about that company. And here you are talking about Terrytown, which they probably owe me money for that. But
okay. I don't want to go down that hole. We'll be down there too long. Exactly. And so I also appreciate that you brought up the whole part about feedback and the negative feedback. And because honestly, as business owners, we really want bad feedback, right? Like if there's something not working for your customers out there, you need to know about it. Otherwise you can't change it. So in the book,
I was just going to say, I know you talked about this in your book.
Yeah. Fundamental number 12 is called crave feedback. And when I was writing that chapter, it was originally, something kind of more like, what to do with feedback or something like that. But the reality and what I realized is that as business owners, as companies, we need to actually be craving that feedback, all of it, good, bad, or indifferent, because without that, we don't know what we need to improve on, what we could make better. And so if you're trying to grow your business, if you're just trying to maintain your business and keep your customers happy, you have to understand what's going wrong and what's going right. And so we have to kind of crave feedback. But in the book, I talk about the fact that a lot of times like you said, we avoid it. There's typically, I do a whole little skit. I've actually got a video of it on YouTube of, how people normally accept feedback. And, one of it's like, la, 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 I'm not listening. Or we turn around and we get mad at the source of the feedback. Well, you're a terrible person too, right? Like we're being personally attacked, or we just, throw our hands up and go, I don't know what to do. Right. So we have to understand that feedback is actually a good thing. And a lot of times we can turn negative experiences into our best customers, right? Like, yeah, this didn't work out. So wait, but you know what? I stepped up, we helped out. And now that customer's happy and now they're an advocate, right? Like, oh yeah, not everything's going to always go right because we're all humans. But they did what's right. They worked with me. More often than not, when a customer's upset or has something that didn't work out, what they want you to do to fix it is way less than you're willing to do to fix it.
I was just going to say that. I don't know how many times I've said to people, what can I do to make this right for you? And it's always way less than, I'm ready to reprint the order and they want $100 credit on their next order,
Exactly.
So,
yeah. So when you get bad feedback, accept the feedback, take it in, learn from it, let go of the emotional part of it and just see what you could learn. And it doesn't mean that every bit of feedback you have to take action on. It means you have to acknowledge it. And then if there's a pattern or if there's a reason to make a change or something that you can do to make a change, then do that. But more often than not, we get upset, whatever, we want to argue about it. And then we start trying to solve the problem. The best thing to do is listen, ask, what can I do to make this right for you? And then just take that in. And like I said, 99% of the time, what they want you to do to make it right, like you said, is way less than you were willing to do. So go,
almost
yeah, absolutely.
always.
I'm happy to do that for you. Thank you for understanding and your patience in this.
So Aaron, I know we're getting a little short on time here.
Yep,
So
yep.
Our buddy Jay Bassell is always saying, surprise and delight your customers. Do you have some thoughts on ways to surprise and delight customers?
Yes. Yeah, that's a good way to wrap this up. Yeah, I came up with a couple of so personalized notes, handwritten notes. We just don't do it anymore. And just go on Amazon, buy a pack of thank you cards, and have them sitting next to your shipping desk, or where you do your quality control, and just take a moment to, but not just don't write the same note to everybody. Don't write the thank you for your order, signed Terry, right? Like, hey Aaron, I really appreciate your order. I'm excited about your 5K. Let us know how the event goes, or if there's anything else we can do to support you. Thank you for supporting our business. Right. And
it gives you that warm and fuzzy.
Yep. And it didn't take that much longer to actually think about my customer, right? Think about what's important to them and write that in the note, compared to writing, thank you for your business, signed Aaron. Right.
Yeah. And Aaron, it's like a habit. It's like if you're a runner, if you skip 2 days, then the next thing you know, you're skipping 5 days. You, just like you said, have it right there in shipping, and do it every time. It's a part of your process.
Yeah, exactly. All right. Next thing, custom packaging. And really, this is just about that opening experience, right? I know a lot of printers out there do the printers fold and throw them back in the box that you got from, so the Gildan boxes are out there everywhere or whatever they are. Right. And even just taking that step of going, okay, I'm going to put them back in the Gildan boxes, but I'm going to individually fold them so they're a little easier to get to, and I'm going to stick a sticker on the box that says, hey, thanks for allowing us to reuse this box. We'd like to save the planet, and we know cardboard recycling is a big challenge, and
as
now do that if that's actually true, right? Don't do that as to greenwash your situation. But what's the reality, right? Are you putting it back in that box to save the planet? Or are you putting it back in that box to save yourself money? Say that then, right? Like, we want to make sure that we keep our prices low for you, so we're reusing the box.
Yeah, true enough.
Right? So,
unless you're selling pizzas, don't do that.
Yeah. Good point. Valid point, Terry. And then one other quick thing on that, like, think about also, could you wrap it up a little bit? Okay, Terry, you and I love a good dad joke. Is there a candy that has jokes on it? Laffy Taffy? Oh. I'm solving the question for you already.
I was thinking of Bazooka Joe.
There you go. I mean, whatever. Cracker Jacks, whatever. Like, put some Laffy Taffy in the package, and put it in a little bag with that note that just says, hey, thanks. We're a fun-loving company. Hopefully you enjoy the jokes and the taffy.
Yeah.
That's custom packaging.
And everybody talks about it. Everybody at the wherever you've shipped that to. So.
Yep, exactly. All right, I've got one more, and then I think I'll let you take the last one on our list here. So customer spotlight just means that, again, you got to understand who your customers are, what's important to them. So after you've printed the job, take some pictures of that job, put it out there on social media. But instead of sharing about the job and printing and come by your screen printing from me, put it out there recognizing your customer. This is really awesome. This 5K is raising money for this cause. Make sure you go and support this. Here's how you can sign up. You're spotlighting your customer in your marketing message, right? And so you don't say a word about your company. You're talking about your customer the whole time, and do things like that, right? Like, if you have an opportunity to go on your local news station, bring a customer along and just talk about them. So I think those really just kind of ingrain you with your customers, knowing that as customers, we want to know that we're more than just a wallet with money in it.
Yep.
So
exactly right.
Yeah. All right. You want to?
The last one that we were going to talk about is surprise upgrades, and I have an example, Aaron. Kim was printing some shirts for a day camp here in Phoenix at Scottsdale, and what she put in the box, because they were There were 50-50 shirts for kids that were going to be running around in the sand and the dirt and 114 degrees today here in Phoenix. But what she did though was she took the same logo, and for the owner of the camp, she did like half a dozen shirts of a very high-end t-shirt as opposed to that 50-50. And it's like the owner has mentioned it to her over and over again. I just love these shirts. So when she's at camp, she's wearing these, very, very high-end shirts, absolutely free, included in the package. But it went so far with that customer that, oh my gosh, this is above and beyond. This is a surprise.
Yeah, for sure. I love that. That's an awesome one. And then let's get Doug's here real quick because I really like this one. Doug says, when I refer customers to someone that I know they'll need to get their project done, all right, please extend every courtesy to Mr. and Mrs. X. And then he goes on to say, I've been amazed at the appreciation I receive from both my customer and the person I referred. And he writes it on the back of his business card. Right. So even you're doing customer service, even in referring people to somebody else.
Yes.
That's pretty cool. I like that idea, Doug. Thank you for that. High five, man.
So, what comes around goes around.
That's right. That's right. Rising tide does lift all boats, Terry. I'll preach that for as long as people listen.
Indeed.
All right. Well, so I think we've covered it, Terry. I think we've done a lot of good stuff here. Hopefully that was really helpful for people. Appreciate everybody that jumped in. Any closing thoughts, Terry?
No, I just that this will put you ahead of your competition just by doing the smallest things in customer service and doing them as a habit. How about you?
Yeah, no, I agree with that. Like you said, doing it as a habit. And honestly, just thinking about this, this is working on your business when you start thinking about, okay, what does customer service mean to me as a business owner, as a company? And how can I make sure that as a company, we're preaching that, right? Like, because Southwest, my story earlier, yes, they would say they want to be the best customer service, but clearly they've gotten away from that. And so they're not spending enough time thinking about what their customers necessarily need potentially. Again, I don't know if my little not using them anymore is going to hurt them per se, but over the long term, that stuff adds up. So
indeed.
All right. Well, let's get a couple things here noted of where we're going to be and what we've got going on here. So I will be, after I get back from my Whirlwind Skills USA / volleyball coaching trip, I will be driving 15 hours back from Orlando, and then the next day getting on a plane and heading to Philadelphia. So I'm heading to Graphics Pro Expo in Philadelphia, and I will be talking about how to master pricing for profit. I've done it at the first 2 Graphics Pro shows of the year and have had wonderful feedback, wonderful discussions. So that'll be happening on July 11th. So if you're up there in the Northeast, come on down to Philadelphia and check that out. It's a absolutely free training for you to be able to come in and we talk about how to master pricing for profit, and Graphics Pro takes care of that, and you don't have to pay a dime. Just come on in. So that's happening. And then I just kind of soft announced where we're probably going to be rolling it out next week between my time at Skills USA. But I've got a brand new program that I'm doing with a mentor of mine, and it is going to be limited to 6 seats. It's an online Zoom masterclass, and we're calling it Achieve Greater Profits with Fewer Sales. And this is exclusively for action-oriented entrepreneurs who are willing to make changes in their business so that you will finally be compensated fairly for what you provide. And if you want to go to oursuccessgroup.com/greater-profit, and you can check out the details there and become one of those lucky 6 people that will be joining us. That's going to be happening on September 5th is when that will take place. We already talked about the Breaking Barriers program. Last thing I wanted to share, Eric, I'm skipping ahead here. Just make sure that everybody is part of the Facebook group that we've got called Fall in Love with Your Business. And it's a group that you definitely want to be in as a business owner. Lots of great perspectives, questions, discussions. And it's just more than the surface level stuff of, do you like pineapple on your pizza? It's great. It's fun. But we need to get some depth to really get to a place where we're working on our business. And so that's what we try to do inside of that group over there. And so check it out if you're not already a member. Fall in Love with Your Business group there. Terry, what about you?
Well, my next complete screen printing business course, I'm going to be in Chicago at Atlas Screen Supply on August 3rd and 4th. And I will be back at Workhorse Products here in Phoenix on August 24th and 25th. It's a dry heat. Just keep thinking that as you're signing up. I already have quite a few signups for that class. I'm going to be talking direct-to-garment, direct-to-film printing at Impressions Expo in Fort Worth, October 24th and 26th.
Nice.
And I'm going to be in the Equipment Zone booth at Printing United in Las Vegas, September 10th and 12th. And Aaron, you and I already have our hour blocked out to record a live show right there. So hopefully we'll be able to interview some of the folks from Printing United and beyond, and watch for all my upcoming events at terrycombs.com. If you want to give Eric's,
yeah, absolutely.
I'll be ready to do secret sauce.
Perfect. I've got Eric here. He's got the take up happening today. So you'll tune in at 2:30 Mountain Time. You can go over to ericcampbell.com and check out the take up tab. But today's episode is episode 193, Making It Minimal, single color, tonal, and textured. In this program today, Eric's going to discuss how we can create impactful looks while maintaining a minimalistic style. Less is more, I believe, is the concept there, Eric. I love it. And I need to tune in. I'm not a less is more guy, and so I'll probably learn something here. But if you'll head over to ericcampbell.com, you can check it out and get posts on the subject and come join in on the fun again at 2:30 Mountain Time today, called The Take Up, and you can find all the details at ericcampbell.com.
Awesome.
All right, Terry, I am hungry. I've worked up an appetite here. I need some secret sauce. Are you ready?
No fire and brimstone this week, but yes, I'm ready. All right, today's secret sauce is heat pressing DTF transfers. I'm often asked about how to heat press DTF transfers because, it's still a fairly new process. So some decorators just don't know how to do it, or because, as with most new processes, there's a lot of varied information out there about how to heat apply a DTF transfer. First, there are three types of DTF transfer material. There's cold peel, there's hot peel, and the very new instant peel. So cold peel means you press the transfer, you'll commonly remove it from the hot platen and allow it to cool for 30 seconds or so. You can rub the back of the transfer with a heat eraser or just a rolled up t-shirt to speed the process. Hot peel means after pressing, you'll wait for about 5 seconds, then peel the transfer carrier sheet. Usually this is done on the heat press, so you can immediately do a second press. And we're going to talk about the second press here in just a second. Instant peel is just what it says. Open the heat press and peel the transfer carrier sheet immediately. So does it make a difference which I choose? Honestly, it's just a matter of preference. You'll see a slight difference in the finished graphic among the three options. So some people prefer hot peel because they think it increases their production speed. Others say they stack the cold peel shirts while they cool and work back through the stack. Honestly, I speak to operators all the time who swear by their chosen method. So whichever you choose to use, sample all the options and choose the one that works best for you. The next question is, do I have to press a second time? There's nothing set in stone that says you have to do a second press, but two things occur with that second press after you've peeled the transfer sheet. One is the second press can assure good adhesion after you've peeled that film away. And two, you can soften the feel of the image with the second press. On this second press, some people use parchment paper or a Teflon sheet to cover the graphic. What I recommend is to lay a t-shirt or a sheet of buckram from the fabric store over the image before you press. This will give you a texture to the graphic and make the transfer look and feel softer. So how about time and temperature? One of the incredible benefits of DTF transfers is that you can successfully apply it to almost any fabric or even porous hard substrates. I press for 15 seconds on the first press, anywhere from 275 degrees to 325 degrees. Items that could be damaged by the heat, like 100% polyester, would be at that lower end, 275 degrees. 100% cotton, I'm going to be at the higher end at 325 degrees. My second press will be for 5 seconds and the garment is ready to go. If you haven't tried DTF transfers yet, the washability, by the way, is extraordinary. And that's my secret sauce for today.
Love it, Terry. That was awesome. The delicious secret sauce. I love the idea about putting the fabric, just cutting out a scrap T-shirt and laying it over the top. I had somebody tell me like using like canvas from like printed.
Yeah,
canvas.
the buckram has more of that texture as well.
Right.
But yeah, it definitely gives the appearance of more like a screen print than a transfer.
Do you feel like it softens it up at all?
I think it does. Yeah, I think it does.
I do too. Okay.
Yeah.
Right. I wanted to hear from the expert before I started making inappropriate comments. So, Terry, excellent show today. Thank you, sir. I appreciate that conversation that we got to have there. Hopefully, Doug, in fact, said another good show, guys. I always get ideas, even though I'm in a different line of business. And Chuck,
good to see you here, Doug.
Yep. Yeah, excellent. Yeah. If you need a log home, Doug's your guy, by the way. Just FYI, let me know. I'll put you in contact. Doug's one of the best guys I know. So Chuck says, thank you, gentlemen, in air quotes. And Ramona says, good sauce, the buckram. I love that idea. So
awesome.
Terry, thank you very much. Good job.
All right, you as well. And we want to thank our show producer, Eric Campbell, for everything he does, keeping us on track and mostly on time.
He can't.
He has no control.
Yeah, he doesn't have any control over that, and he doesn't believe in being on time either. So it's all good. Eric, thank you very much, sir. Next week, Terry, we will be talking to Quentin Smith, and he's going to be joining us to talk about the latest craze and decorating method in the industry that we're trying to learn a little bit more about ourselves. And so we're going to get him in here, and we're going to ask him all the hard questions about UV DTF printing. So if you guys are interested in that, which I believe you should be, it seems pretty cool. I've been playing with the actual product, but understanding how it works, I don't know that yet. So I'm looking
exactly, and I get questions about it all the time. So I'm really looking forward to having Quentin on the show. But Aaron, until then, I'm Terry Combs. He's Aaron Montgomery,
and that was the Two Regular Guys.
Here we go. We're out.
Awesome.
Thank you for listening to Two Regular Guys. Check out our website at tworegularguys.com. That's the number 2, regularguys.com. You can also interact with us over at our Facebook page, facebook.com/tworegularguys, or send us a tweet, twitter.com/tworegularguys. And we have a YouTube page. You can find all that from our website, tworegularguys.com. Thanks for tuning in, and we look forward to spending some time with you again next week.